Yeah, and many of the teachers and the professors are also from other countries, so it's a very international environment. I was just searching, and somehow, by some luck, I found this like musicology, and I was like, what's that? I've never heard of that. And I read through the description, I was like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do.
So we're talking a little bit about these support systems that are available at the university, and there is one big support system that is available for, I definitely know it's available for international students. Essential thing about Finnish student life that we completely forgot to mention. Welcome to the JYU for You podcast. My name is Irfan Durmic and I'm your host with the most glasnost. In this episode, we're going to be discussing a little bit of an interesting field which is oftentimes misunderstood, musicology or music and science. We're also going to talk about the variety of intellectual opportunities that you have at the University of Jyväskylä as a student to explore all of the things that you're very curious about. Finally, we're going to talk about international tutoring, a topic very interesting for our new international students and also our current international students and Finnish students, as we're going to soon see, who might be interested in engaging with the international community. We hope you're going to enjoy our little episode with our friend Ella. Cheers. Hey Ella, seriously, how are you doing? How's life?
I'm good. Life's good. I am happy about the summer. That makes me happy. There's actually sun and it's warm.
Oh, a little bit of extra sunshine and, getting the actual vitamin D instead of pill form?
Yeah.
So has it messed up your sleep schedule though?
No. I'm used to it. Doesn't really make any difference to me.
Really? You can actually naturally fall asleep?
Yeah. I
Wow.
actually don't even really close the shutters. Doesn't really.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're lucky
I
then.
just like the lights.
Really?
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of the atmosphere. Because I know I have like a couple of students that they complain that it's really funny. It starts out with the complaints of like, oh, there's so much darkness. I'm immediately sleepy during the winter. And during the summer, oh, there's so much light. There's so much light. I can't fall asleep. But I guess there is hope for people. They can at least know like, yeah, you adjust at some point.
Maybe then it's just natural for me because that's the way it's been for my whole life. I've just grown into it.
So where's the change between light and darkness more dramatic? Because you've been in Jyväskylä for how long?
Almost 6 years.
Okay, so 6 years of Jyväskylä and the other 19 years.
Yeah.
Again, how long does it take a student studying mathematics to do 25 minus 6? Happy belated birthday. Happy belated birthday.
You.
So the other 19 years in?
Pietarsaari.
Also known as?
Jakobstad.
That's always my little quiz game. But where was the transition rougher between, the going from darkness to light in Pietarsaari or Jyväskylä? Because Pietarsaari is a little bit more north.
Yeah, it's more
right?
to the north, yeah. So it's a little bit longer there during the summers, the days, but not really a big difference.
You don't really notice it? It's not something that's
not
like, oh my God, this one.
Not really. But then again, like there also, the house is not in the middle of the city, so it's like no lights outside really. So you can actually, see the sky and the natural darkness or brightness, whatever just happens to be. And here I live right in the city center, so it's always the city lights are always there, and it's a little different.
Well, that sounds enjoyable though, that you grew up in an environment where you could just look at the stars.
Yeah, there's just a big forest right next to the house, and it's very different.
Okay, so from like a quick 20-second analysis, what I hear here, there are perfect predispositions to study geography.
Yeah.
There are perfect predispositions to, as far as I know, Pietarsaari is a bilingual city. Mm-hmm. What's the percentage like Swede versus Finns?
I think Swedish like 60 or more.
Okay.
And Finnish maybe 30.
Okay, so that's a much harsher statistic than like on average in the country, because what is it, like Swedish-speaking Finns, let's go precisely, 5% in the entire country?
I'm not sure, but not much. Very small
5.5?
minority.
Give or take, people can fact check that. That's why the beauty of Google and Wikipedia. Yeah. So, okay, then Swedish studies would have been a logical thing. Like, oh, you're already in a bilingual city. There's that.
Yeah.
Absolutely clear sky. So, perfect predisposition for astronomy.
Right.
Or you're on the western coast, so close enough to the sea and actually doing my marine biology. And then there's also, my favorite delight from Pietarsaari, which now my brain is blocking, which is kind of sad. Will I remember? Will I remember the next 10 seconds? I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, I'm genuinely not. Well, I really can't remember. What's the delicacy in Pietarsaari? Runebergin tortu.
Yes.
Runebergin tortu took me a second.
But you got it.
Yeah, it took me a moment, but I remembered.
So I guess it's been a while since you've eaten those.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean it's like 4 months from.
Oh yeah.
Runebergin paiva. Just contextually, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one. National poet of Finland.
Yes.
Close enough. And apparently a big fan of a particular cake, dessert, whatever, how you want to define it, which now is eaten on his day in February, and it's an absolutely delicious dessert.
Quite nice.
That's one of the concepts that I love about Finland. You always have a dessert for a different time.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, going back, so like phenomenal predisposition to go into baking. And out of all of those things, you go into a field that nobody can even properly define.
Yeah.
Musicology.
And nobody knows about.
I mean, we even almost borderline embarrassed ourselves, like when we were presenting the program. Even we had like a second of. Literally, the only reason why I knew how to properly talk about that program was like, yeah, I know one person for this program. Sola, this is your opportunity to truly represent your program in the right way. Can you explain to all of us what is musicology?
Yeah, I mean, the misconception that people always have about it, they think that we will be musicians or music teachers, but we won't. So it's like everything else. So we just study music. We don't study playing an instrument or teaching music. We just study music in every possible way, pretty much. And then we can just work with music in different music companies, for example, or we can be researchers if we wish, or different things related to music, but not teaching or playing.
Okay, so the listeners are definitely a lot more clever than I am, but I'm a simple-minded human. You said analyze music from every possible angle in every possible way.
Yeah, or like research, not analyze maybe, but we can.
But in what way? What do you mean? Is it like again, simple-minded person here? Does that mean, we have these notes and you're trying to make some sense out of like Beethoven's 7th or is it 5th? I don't know.
That could be as well, but you can relate it to or combine it with like any field. We could combine it with psychology and look more into the brain, how we can see music there, or we could like look how the music that is played in stores, how that affects the way people buy things, for example. Or if you listen to music while doing sports, how that can have an effect on how well you perform.
Oh, is it just asking for a friend? Is it possible to find the ideal music for, let's say, increasing the interest level of people in listening in a new podcast, for example, hypothetically speaking?
Yeah, that for sure has an effect.
Okay, lovely. So we're gonna have a conversation afterwards. But what aspect of that has been interesting to you?
I would say, like in general, I'm a person who is very interested in everything. So yeah, and especially music. I like literally all the things are interesting to me. But maybe I have more. Been just directed my thesis, for example, it's been a little more directed to the psychology side of it and music therapy, but everything is really interesting to me.
So tell me a little bit more about music therapy.
I mean, it's I think people also don't really know that such thing exists even. It's just therapy, psychotherapy that just uses music as a tool to do things. You could like, for example, play there or listen to music or just write songs or anything. That's kind of also related to my thesis topic, which is therapeutic songwriting. So yeah, music can be a really good therapy tool.
But when you say therapeutic songwriting, is it kind of like with the same? Because I know a lot of people will try to take some sort of a topic and journal on the topic in order to process some sort of an emotion or a similar thing. Now, is the idea with music therapy, with creating a song, is it in a similar direction where you get some sort of a topic and you're trying to, through a song, create something and emotionally process something that's going on? Or is it more of you're trying to create something to distract yourself? What's the approach?
It could depend. I think it depends on the person and the situation and just however you feel in that moment. Like, you don't need to go and start doing that with a certain aim in mind. However that helps you, then it helps you, whether you end up writing about the experience or the feeling you have, or maybe you just play something and that makes you feel better.
Okay, so just more of like this focus not on a particular emotion, but just allowing yourself like this creative spirit in a sense to evolve and for you
it depends on the situation. You can do it in different ways. So it's not just like, yes, it's always like this. So it depends.
Also less rigid.
Yeah.
Which I guess is also another way to describe, the entire studies that you've had. They're not overly rigid. There's like a level of flexibility.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's something that you've enjoyed when it comes to actual classwork? Any particular class that had an impact on you?
Yes, I would say my favorite one probably has been the one that I did this spring, just a while ago, the music technology project course. That was probably my favorite because I actually got to do things in it. I didn't just have to write an essay or something or just read books or articles or whatever. I could actually just come up with my own project and do that. And I decided to record 2 songs and record and mix and master them. And that was really fun. I really liked that. And I think I learned a lot as well.
Oh, that's great that you got directly the hands-on experience.
Yeah, because I feel like in our field we usually don't get it that much because a lot of the courses are just like reading and just studying and writing and not really doing something maybe. But that one was a little different. I really liked it.
So when you were exploring universities, is that something that kind of drew you towards Jyväskylä?
Honestly, it was just because of the program. Because I had a really hard, almost desperate time at the end of high school when I had to apply somewhere, and I really didn't know where. And I was just thinking, what am I gonna do? Like, the application time is almost over, and I haven't applied anywhere, and I need to apply to more than one place. And I was very hopeless. I just kept on thinking, what am I gonna do? And I knew that my biggest interests were our favorite subjects. They were music, or maybe not as a subject at school because it was just too easy for me. But I still knew that I liked music and I would like to do something with it. And then psychology and languages, those were the main interests of mine. And then I was just thinking but what? I don't know what I want to study. I don't know if I want to study a language or what, or psychology. I don't know. I just know that music is the top thing for me, the number one, and I want to do that. But I don't want to be a music teacher or a musician, really, at least professionally. And I was just searching, and somehow, by some luck, I found this musicology, and I was what's that? I've never heard of that. And I read through the description. I was oh, that's actually that's exactly what I want to do. And then I searched for just things about it, and I looked for if there were where in Finland, and turned out that Jyväskylä was the only place with the proper program in musicology in bachelor and master's. So that's how I ended up here then, because this is the only place where you can study it this way. So
I guess it kind of made it simple for you. You had this desire, you knew the program, and not exactly the program, but you knew the rough topic, rough field that you wanted to go into. And then luckily, there's only one place, so I have it easy for myself.
Yeah, and somehow I knew Jyväskylä as well. I had been here before. Just a couple of times as a child, but I also had a nice memory about the music building that I had walked by as a child, and I saw the music word on the door, when it says music, and I was just back then thinking to myself, man, that's so cool that people actually get to study music in a university. I wish I could do that one day, but I can't. And then I somehow ended up in that exact building, and that just makes me very happy.
So you kind of mentioned just two things that I want to touch upon.
Yeah.
Let's actually first go on that like little childhood memory.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember anything else from that period other than just visiting that, music building? Is there anything else that kind of had an impact on you when you saw the city and that you still think of nowadays?
I just remember that we walked through the campus area, the Seminaarinmäki campus area with my parents, and my mom showed around because she had been there.
Oh.
And I was just thinking to myself, like, it felt so messy in a way. I was like, how can you walk around here? How do you know what is where? And it was just like, it's like a maze. And it's not, but back then it really felt like that. And I was just like, it's so weird. And so many buildings that belong to like one university, because back at that point school had just been one building to me, so it was really like just felt like a big thing, and university as a thought and as a concept was just like, I was like, what is that even? But it was cool somehow.
And is there now like this layer of comfort where it doesn't seem like a maze anymore?
Yeah, no, it never really did. And at the point when I actually got here then many years later, and now it's just like everything's familiar and not as big as back then.
It gets a little bit, local, and it feels smaller because it feels so approachable.
Yeah, and when you grow up, that's just how it always goes with everything as well.
Hey, bigger legs, less steps. Makes it easier.
Yeah, right.
Another thing that you kind of mentioned, you said that you had these three main interests, being music, language, and psychology. Yeah. And it seems like you had the opportunity to marry everything here in a sense.
Yeah.
So for people that are not that familiar with the Finnish education system, a lot of other education systems are very rigid, where if you sign up to study mathematics, you're just studying mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
If you're studying physics, you're just studying physics. So most people would think like, oh, you're doing musicology, so music and science, which I guess is an appropriate translation or transliteration, whatever. And yet here you're mentioning that, oh, I also had this interest in psychology and languages, which you managed to continue at the university.
Yeah, I actually studied them all here then, because it's very free here, which I really like. Like, you can just choose pretty much anything, also in addition to your major. And that's what I've done. I've taken many different subjects because I have many interests. So I have taken some psychology courses. I have taken different language courses, multilingualism, which I really like as well, and just very many different things, and actually gotten to study everything that I'm interested in.
But that is that just exclusive for the Finnish version of your guys' program? So the Finnish application process for musicology, or you guys? I mean, the department. I'm saying you guys as if you run the program. The new program, Music and Science, the International Master's Degree program, that is in its first or second year. I can't remember.
It just started.
Okay, just effectively started.
Yeah.
And as far as I understand, the students still have that same opportunity, to have that flexible study program. Do you guys have any interaction?
Yeah, we actually have like the courses are together with them, so they don't have like their own courses or anything. It's just the same ones, and they're just in English for us all. But we can also like, if we have to write essays, we can write them in Finnish or English. We can decide ourselves usually. So.
Oh, that's another lovely level of flexibility.
Yeah, and many of the teachers and the professors are also from other countries, so it's a very international environment. It has been already before the start of the Music and Science program as well.
So when you're saying that the department is pretty international, would you also say that you feel that the city is international?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Did you immediately feel that the second when you got here, or?
No, actually not. I really didn't realize that in the beginning, because that was not what I was used to. Because coming from a small place, we didn't really have that there. For example, exchange students in my school, there was maybe like 1 or 2 per year. So basically nothing. And I just didn't realize how big the international environment is here and how many people actually come from elsewhere.
So walk me a little bit through that process of leaving Pietarsaari and coming here. And those first realizations about Jyväskylä.
That was an exciting time. It was the first time I lived in another city. I had lived in Pietarsaari for my whole life, so coming here was already like exciting, and everything was a lot bigger and new. And I was just really happy to get to be somewhere new and a different place and just kind of start all over. And yeah, but for the international part, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really even think about it when I came here. Because it had never really, it had always been an interest of mine, and I always wished to be in an international environment, but just never really had the chance back then. And then when I got here, I didn't even realize that, hey, I could actually try to be in that and try to find out how to get there.
So how did that happen? When was that moment of realization? Okay, I could actually be in first of all, did it first happen in the actual department where you started feeling maybe that you're in an international department and then kind of slowly evolving into a greater, dipping into the international community within town, or did it evolve in a different way?
I would say it took it was a long process, just slowly getting there. I just remember when I started here, one of the teachers was from Canada, I think. And that was the first time I ever had a teacher from another country. And I just thought that was really cool. And I didn't know it's actually very common here to have teachers from everywhere. And that was just very cool to me at that point. And just to have a course in English, I was just like, yeah, this is so cool, because it was new to me. And so that was probably the first time that I realized that, hey, there are actually quite many people from many different places. And then I also remember on the first month or second month, there was this musicology event where I went to, and then there was one guy from Germany, an exchange student in musicology. And I think that was the first exchange student that I met here and talked to just a few words to. And I never saw him again, but I didn't, and I also didn't really think much about that. I just thought okay, well, that's just one exchange student. Cool, that's how it is. Just one exchange student, Didn't really think that there's actually this really big community of them. It took a few years for me to realize that, because then there also COVID came. Nobody was anywhere. Nothing was happening. I actually had one course, one of these intercultural and multilingual communication courses. That was during COVID. So we had it online on Zoom, and there were some exchange students, but they did the exchange online. So it was a little different and very sad, but that's probably where I had proper interactions with many different exchange students. But I never saw any of them in real life. They were in their own countries, but we were talking through Zoom. And then I think what really was the turning point was I also had another one of those intercultural multilingual communication courses 2 years ago in spring, which was actually in person now, and the people were actually here. And that's where I got to know some exchange students, and I talked to them. And then I just very randomly met some of them at this one event and got to know them. And that's pretty much how I really ended up in the international circles and the environment, and I haven't left it ever since. So that was I think that was the point where I really found out about it and really found myself in it. And yeah, just really randomly met some people, and then I ended up it was mainly just this one friend group, and then I ended up going to I had a barbecue with them. And then when I was there, I was just thinking to myself, I was oh wow, I'm having a barbecue here with multiple international students, and I'm the only Finn in this company. And I think that had never happened before. I think I had never been with a big group of people as the only Finn. And I just found that very cool. And I was this is what I've always wanted. I used to dream about that when I was in high school or something. And just always thinking I want to be in an international company. And, because there were these small Erasmus programs that we did at school, a few different countries. And then you go to all the countries for 1 week with a small group of students and a couple of teachers. But I was never a part of that. And I was jealous of the people who were. But yeah, then I was here suddenly in this company of exchange students, and I really liked it. And then, I mean, that was in the spring, so they were all gonna leave pretty soon, which was sad. But then after that, I also had like the next semester, I think I had some courses with some exchange students, and somehow I was just suddenly like seeing them everywhere and seeing like, oh, that's an exchange student and that as well. And there's so many of them and I'm around them and I'm getting to know them. And then I saw this like post by the student union on Instagram, like, hey, we are looking for volunteers to organize some events for international students in January. We're going to have this info meeting. Please come if you're interested in that. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that would actually be so cool. That's something I want to do. And then I tried to like advertise it to some friends and try to get someone to join me there because I didn't want to go alone, not knowing anyone there. But yeah, nobody wanted to come, so I ended up going by myself anyway. But I'm really happy that I did because I think that was a really good decision because I think we also wouldn't know each other if I didn't do that. Yeah, we went at one of those events. So
actually, something that I like, you went through a lot of stuff right now, and that they say that Finns don't talk. So something that I'm actually kind of curious about. So you're saying that you had this impetus, this desire to kind of like interact in a little bit of a more international community.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people come to that from a different perspective. I think for some people it's just this very natural curiosity of what is it like to just experience somebody's life, somebody's perspective from a different culture. And you can get a lot of that just by having a conversation with somebody from a different place.
Yeah.
And knowing you well enough, I think you have that like slight level of curiosity, slight maybe being an understatement. But on the other hand, a lot of people come to this, international perspective wanting to share their own culture. And you being the local person and even saying, a couple of times, you were the only Finn in the group. Were you approaching this from a perspective of, oh, I want to give some information to these people. I want to be, like the useful local person. Or were you coming more from the perspective of like, I want to learn from you guys? Or is it kind of like, again, marrying these two perspectives?
I mean, it was all just very sudden to me. Really like just unexpected in a way. It just happened very suddenly that I was there. And I think, it was just so random. And I was just suddenly found myself there. And I guess it was just the will to get to know those people, get to know people from other places, other countries, other cultures. And just, if I can give something to them, that makes me happy. But that was not like the meaning of it. I was like, okay, now let me come there and I'm just going to tell you everything about Finland or something. Like, I'm going to be this example of a Finn. Like, no, I was just like, I just wanted to get to know them and just meet new people from different places.
Well, that's actually lovely that you're really coming from that, I want to say normal and chill place. And I always say that there's always this discussion about, what does integration mean for foreigners? And oftentimes the focus is on like institutional integration of, go to this office, go for that, go whatever. But I think this is, this is actual integration, where it happens on the ground.
Yeah.
Where there are just these random, curiosities, micro communications and whatever. And I think that's a beautiful thing about living in a city like this, where, what is it now? Like every fourth student is every fourth citizen in the city is a student. You have a lot of these like little micro communications and opportunities just to have these random little conversations and everybody's learning something from each other and about each other. So you kind of tangentially mentioned this Kickoff event, as I think they're formally known nowadays. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the Kickoff events.
Yeah, so they had the thought of like that they wanted to organize a few events, Kickoff events in January, mainly for the new...
So just when in January, and again, who was organizing it?
Yeah, organized by the student union and just volunteering students, whoever wanted to do that. So basically just students, but under the student union.
Give just like a quick overview of the student union. Like from your perspective as a student, you're not an official representative of the student union, but how do you understand the student union?
I mean, it consists of students, I think. Good to say
That would
no.
maybe be the logical thing. I'm not sure. We will need to check
it does. It does.
Is there a thesaurus here maybe to help?
Yeah, it does. It consists of students, and they kind of represent us other students, and and then they do nice things. They organize events and things, and we can just join them in a way like that. So it's a really nice union to have.
Like literally a support system.
Yeah, basically.
That's kind of divided into separate sections. I know there's like an entire separate section just for international affairs.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And I'm guessing those guys were the ones kind of behind the kickoff events.
Yeah, it was, I don't now remember what exact title of the person it was, but it was something with international something, I think.
So what were the kickoff events that you participated in?
We started planning them in December, I think, and just thinking like, what could they be? What could be nice? What do people want to do?
What year is this, just for timeline?
December 22.
Okay, so right out of the pandemic.
Yeah, there had been like not a full year of normal life yet.
Normal.
So, so like, I mean, the exchange students who arrived here in January 22, they didn't have anything. That was still COVID. So that was the January after that. That was like normal again.
Okay, so 23.
Yeah. So, there were, I don't remember how many events, maybe like around 10 maybe, or a little less. Maybe about 10. And I took part maybe in 5, I think. There were different things like the street friending or a city tour, some baking, a walk in Laajavuori, like a winter nature walk.
Laajavuori is...
It's like a skiing center, and it has other things as well, but that's the thing it's mainly known for. What else was there? There were a lot of nice things, and like a campus tour, kind of like Fuksiaiset, but like for the international students, and a little different, but still like had some things to do around the campus.
So just a bunch of events to like help both internationals to mingle with each other, and also to help them mingle with the locals, as you know.
Yeah, I mean, they were basically aimed for the new ones, but they were open to everyone, to international students who already were here, like you.
Yeah, I mean, I was there for a semester and I just randomly dropped by, so.
Yeah, and then just Finns could join as well, if they wanted to. I think many Finns didn't even know about that, and they always think that like, okay, these are just for international students, but usually they are open for everyone. So just for people to get to know each other, get to know Jyväskylä, the campus, the university, everything, student life.
Again, as I say, integration on the ground. So we're talking a little bit about these support systems that are available at the university, and there is one big support system that is available for, I definitely know it's available for international students. Yeah. That I know for a fact.
Yeah.
And we're getting into tutoring a little bit now. First of all, did you as a Finnish student have a tutor when you came here?
Yeah, I did. We had it like, our tutor group was just everyone who started in the program at the same time.
Can you just define tutoring very quickly in this context?
I mean, a tutor is just someone who meets you on the first day and then just helps you get to know places and just be at the right place at the right time, and just getting to know each other and just somehow settling in to the university life. And yeah, our group was just every person who started in the program. So there was like 15 of us. And then one tutor.
Wait, one group of 15 students?
Yeah.
For musicology and one tutor?
Yeah.
Wow, and I thought we had it difficult.
No, but it was actually good. There were no problems, worked well. And I guess also because we're all Finnish, so it was not like a new country to be in, for example, like for the international students. So it's a little different. But yeah, it was good. And I remember on the first day, before all the official info session started, our tutor asked us to meet like 1 hour before that or something, just to get to know each other. And then we had this like introductory circle and whatever, and just getting to know each other. And it was very nice.
Okay. So you had a little bit of a support system.
Yeah.
As a Finnish student, but you're saying kind of like, okay, the support wasn't, overly I mean, I'm not going to say that it wasn't necessary, but the type of support that you needed is a little bit different when you're just
a little
moving.
different. Yeah, not just like showing like how to do groceries or something, or where your apartment is. Like we didn't have that.
Oh, you're immediately giving a spoiler of what was the next thing that I was thinking about asking. Okay, so there's that level of support that you received as a local.
Yeah, more for the studies and the university.
So then what type of support were you able to offer based on that experience to international students? Because I know you were a tutor for 2 semesters,
yes.
right?
Yeah, for international students.
So walk me through the entire process. What was your idea? First of all, what was the process for you as a Finn to like, I feel confident enough to be a tutor?
Yeah.
What were your responsibilities and what are some of the experiences that you remember? Because a lot of people, I mean, hopefully, at least a couple of people who are listening to us, they might be thinking about how does everything work with tutoring, who's there to support them when they're here? Because it is, as you kind of like alluded to, it's always difficult to move from one place to another. It's one thing when you're moving locally, you speak the language, you understand the culture, you have this cultural acumen about the place. It's a completely different game when you're moving from one place to another. And people have different expectations and whatever. So for the people who are, a little bit concerned, like, oh my God, I'm moving for the first time from one country to another. What can you say as a former tutor? What was your process first, like, I guess, getting into it?
Yeah, I mean, somehow I never saw myself as a tutor, but at the same time I did when I thought about it. And but yeah, I never applied to be a tutor for my program for musicology for Finnish students, because I just felt like, maybe there are other people who are better for that than me. But then when I found out about the international tutors, which I think I didn't even know about at first, because I just didn't know about the international students that much, like in general. But then, like when I was volunteering for those events, that's when I met some international tutors and I actually heard about the thing and I was like, hey, that could actually be something I could do and that would be interesting. And then I started I found out more about it, knew more about it, somehow got interested in it and got to know what it's like. And then the application time started and I think we talked about it.
Yeah, we had a...
For some reason, I don't know why. Somehow we ended up talking about it and then we were like, hey, let's apply for that. And then we did. And then we were chosen.
Do you remember what was even the procedure I'm seeing now? What was
we just had to fill the application, just write some things like why we want to do that. It was pretty simple.
And then there was an interview, right?
Yeah, there was a group interview.
Oh yeah, those were actually fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because the only qualification is basically, have you been here for a year? And if you've been here for a year, the assumption is, okay, you know enough and you can jump into it. So relatively simple process. And the awesome thing is like for everybody, just, it's open for everybody. Quite literally anybody can be a international tutor. But I think there's this interesting phenomenon. I guess this is a great way to compare it. Both of us applied to be international tutors. And I had, my personal motivation of like, I'm an international student. I kind of understand how this works. And then in a sense, it's a little bit easier for me. Like, oh yeah, I know what's supposed to be done. And then on the other hand, you haven't had that international experience as coming here. So did you feel kind of like you got selected? Did you just immediately feel like, I'm going to say yes to this and I feel totally prepared to do this?
I mean, yeah, already like when I applied, I knew that I want to do that and I was hoping that I would get to do it. And I was very happy when I got the email that I was chosen. So I didn't have to like wonder like, should I accept it or not? So yeah, I was just happy, maybe a little, I don't know if nervous, but still, you always doubt yourself in everything. Like, am I good enough for this? Do I know enough to actually help them? But...
And it's a big responsibility. I mean, like you're the first contact for a person in a new country.
True. But I would say I was just excited and really just waiting to get the list of the people that I will have in my group and just to know who I will be a tutor to.
So walk me through that process. So you apply, you get in, there's a little training, so kind of like to put everybody on the same level. Yeah,
so we don't have to like just be a tutor without like getting any guidance training. And guessing. Yeah, we will get all the information that we have to know. So
again, kind of going back to that entire support system, there's like the student union, they're organizing it. There's also the international office and a lot of other people making it work, the different departments. So you get the list of the students that you're tutoring.
Yeah.
And then how did it go for you to write the email and everything? What was your approach?
Yeah, we got like a small template for that to like just to know what we should tell them. So I kind of took some help from that, but then just wrote the email, and that was somehow nice to think like, okay, I'm writing to these people who will come here in exchange. They've never been here before, probably, at least most of them. And I will actually like be the first contact and the first person they will meet when they arrive. And it was just somehow very nice and exciting in a way. And just writing that and giving all the information for them and waiting for the reply. Like, when are they gonna reply to me and let me know when they're arriving and everything? And
speaking of information, what's the information that people should expect to get?
I mean, yeah, it's the basic information. I guess it somehow depends on who your tutor is and how much they want to tell you.
No, but it's also, I mean,
yeah,
like,
there's
if you're
all the information that you should tell, of course. Like just all the what was it even? Like about finding an apartment, how to arrive here in Jyväskylä, like trains or what you should use and how you can get here.
Not the plane. Please, nobody comment the plane. Just save the environment a little. The trains are wonderful.
They are good, yeah. Work better. And I think just about normal things about life here and what you should maybe be prepared for and what you should have, what you should do before you come, or what you have to do when you come, and just making sure, like, I don't know if your apartment is furnished or not, and just these normal important things to take into consideration before you arrive or once you have arrived.
And always the lovely paperwork. The difference being, depending on if you're an exchange student or an international student. But I kind of appreciated the fact that kind of the template that you mentioned, like, we all knew what was supposed to be done. We knew how to add a little bit of, like, a flavor. And I don't know about you, but like, I love this entire perspective of you are there as like a close contact for somebody who's just coming here, and you have a certain level of a lived experience. And you can directly and immediately help out with that.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you to just have those first email conversations with your tuties and then, finally picking them up?
It was very nice. Everybody replied to them in the first place. And they just, like, all of my tuties that I've had on both semesters, every single one has been really nice. Very nice people. And all the emails, they were like, they really seemed to appreciate the information that I gave them and sent them. And everyone, was just really receptive in a way and really wanted to know that stuff. And they told me when they're coming, and they were, at least they said they were like happy that I was actually there to pick them up, and they didn't have to just find everything themselves. And
as an international student, trust me, it's very nice when somebody greets you at the train station. It's very nice.
For sure.
Especially after, depending on where you're coming from, hours and hours of flying.
Yeah, it was very good.
Do you remember the first pickup you did?
Yes, I do. It was in August, I think. So it was still kind of summerish. I think it was a warm day actually, a nice day, sunny day, and that was very nice. I was excited to do the first one and just wondering like what kind of a person will arrive there and will I recognize when they come out from the train and everything. And actually, like, I think I was standing like right in front of the door where she came out from then, and it was just very, very lucky, and it was very nice, and we recognized each other somehow. And then I took her to the apartment. And
where was the apartment?
Where?
Yeah.
In Ristonmaa. So
okay, a little bit farther away from the city center.
Yeah, we took a bus there.
That's something that I love. That always makes it so easy. Because the bus station, the main bus stop at least, it's right next to the train station. And then at least even if you have a little bit extra, luggage, it's not kind of a big problem.
Yeah, and I think it was also just, she had a really big suitcase with her. So I also felt like it was really good that I was there, because I just helped her with it, and I was like pulling it and everything, and then we carried it up the stairs because her apartment was like on the second floor. So that was funny, but everything went well, and it was really nice. It really made me happy.
Do you remember if any of your tuties had issues with anything?
No, I don't think so. Actually, it went very well with everyone. There were really not any problems.
No, nobody had any problems getting an apartment?
No,
Nice.
everything was good. Only one day, one of the tutees arrived, like, it was a really stormy day. It was raining as hard as it just can rain, basically. That was very funny. Like, a really nice first experience when arriving. Just really windy and really rainy, but everything still went well.
I mean, it can't beat an experience of minus 40 degrees Celsius.
I mean, yeah, then we had that in the other semester, so like there was everything. But it was just, even though the weather might have been a little extreme, it was still somehow funny every time and nice.
Yeah, I think there's like, I believe that, me coming a little bit also from a tutor's perspective and a student's perspective, there's this immense sense of enthusiasm that you have when you're coming to a new country.
Yeah.
And then when you're greeted with like even a slight level of positive energy, that feeling of excitement increases immediately.
Right.
And I really think the great benefit that JYU gets from the fact that students are organizing the entire process. I mean, with support, of course, from like, more senior staff, the people that are doing tutoring, that are tutors, they're excited about it. Just like you're kind of like saying, you're like, I was excited to be a tutor. And then people can immediately feel that. And I think that like makes everything a lot lighter.
Yeah.
So then you pick up everybody, you're going through the logistical stuff, which some of it is, correct me if I'm missing anything, registering with Migri, which is the immigration service in Finland.
Yeah.
I believe that's what the EU students have to do, if I remember correctly. Don't have an EU passport, so I don't know it off the top of my head, but luckily there is information on that.
Yeah, my tutees were actually really good because everyone had like done everything already, so I didn't really need to help with that kind of stuff.
That's what you get from sending like a good email and having people that's the beautiful thing. I mentioned this in a previous podcast. The beautiful thing about Finnish society is everything is written down. Just read it and you will be fine. You really don't have to worry about it. I love that. I love that. It's delightful. But okay, so registering like immigration if you're a EU citizen. If you're non-EU, you can register if you're a degree student, I believe, at DVV or formerly Maestrati. So like this, just registering in the municipality. And I think the funnest task for everybody is always getting the bank account if you're a degree student. You've never had to lead anybody to a bank?
No, I didn't.
Okay. For some people, it can get a little bit like it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
But again, it works itself out very nicely.
Everything does.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Essential thing about Finnish student life that we completely forgot to mention, the overalls.
Right. Yeah, they are a big thing.
If they're such a big thing, can you explain them?
Yes, I can. So yeah, they are literally overalls that we have. Every field has its own color and they vary in between cities. So it's not always the same color in every city for the same field, but every field has its own color. And then we put all these patches to it that we can get from events that we participate or just different things. We can buy them. And all the student associations also have their own patches. And then we just have them and we usually wear them to all kinds of different student events. And then you can always see like who is studying what by the color or by the overall that they're wearing. It's really fun.
And some people also wear them when they're picking up their tutees.
Some people do.
Yes, some people do.
Some people don't.
Some people are wearing jeans. Some people are simple. But that's actually, I mean, another great way for tutees to recognize their tutor.
Even though they don't really know what it is. I remember one of my tutees told me later when he saw that I had it again at a student event or something, and maybe then I told what it is. I think he told me that he thought it was some kind of like a gang outfit or something, like they have like these jackets where they put patches on, and I was like, oh.
Korteboche gang.
Yeah, I mean, in a way it is when you think about it, but that's, yeah, well.
We're going to skip over that analogy. But it actually cracked me out because I'm uneducated. I didn't know about. I was so confused by them. And especially my tutor who picked me, she did this really cool thing. Like she she turned her overall into a skirt.
Oh.
It was really cool conceptually. It was very original. So I'm pretty sure she explained the overalls to me, but it's just like when you arrive first, it's just gonna go over your head. And then the first few times when I saw people with the overalls, I was just like, are these people in some construction workers or something?
Yeah,
what is this?
yeah, it looks a little bit like that.
Is this how students are supposed to make money over the summer? They're like just painting the walls or whatever.
Right.
Some Huckleberry Finn action. I guess he did the wooden, whatever it's called, the barrier. Again, Google exists, so that's the beautiful thing. But I love the fact kind of that if you're a degree student, you can definitely get an overall, and it does give you like the sense of belonging, I would say, because really the focus on student life here is through the associations, both global ones at the university level, kind of like the student union, but also those little subcommittee ones and local ones within the subject associations. And I think a cool thing also that exchange students definitely have is they can get these ESN overalls.
Yeah, they can.
And I think that's an original thing in Finland. I mean, you can't get ESN overalls in other countries. Maybe Sweden? I don't know.
I know that they have overalls in Sweden too, but I don't know how it's for exchange students.
Yeah, if it's for ESN. But that's a nice one that they can get. Oh, and just ESN, I'm assuming most people know, but it's the exchange student network, the ones that are kind of like, I guess they're under Erasmus or part of Erasmus.
I mean, it is the Erasmus student network.
So, yeah. What did I say? Exchange student network? Yeah. My bad. My bad. Too many acronyms. So when you were a tutor and you did give this effort for your students to participate in these different events, what's one, maybe what's your favorite experience with your tuties? Well, what's kind of like this moment that you felt like, I did something right and this was a lot of fun?
That's a good question. Because I think I had a lot of nice moments with them. And we also did like some stuff just like on our free time. I also did with a couple of other tutors as well. We just combined our groups basically and just like
do stuff.
hang out, with all the people. That was very nice. And then just going to different events with them and everything. And like the latest thing that I did, I just had before two of my tuties just left now, they just like invited me and like all the others in the group too, but they were already gone to a barbecue together. That was also really nice. And just like, just doing everything together. Everything has been really nice. I don't know if I can really just say one thing, but it's been a really nice experience in general. Really, it has made me very happy, and I'm really happy that I decided to do it.
So you feel it's been a rewarding experience for you?
Yeah, I would say it's been very nice to get to know new people, and just because it's nothing official to be a tutor. Like it's more like just a friend who is here when you arrive, and then you can just do everything. Like it's not official or formal in any way.
I mean, it's an older sibling in a sense. And just when you say formal before, people think that it's just randomly organized. It's formal in a sense that, nobody's policing you, nobody's like,
Yeah, and you don't need to be like, hi, Mr. whatever.
It's like this very, very simple and informal thing of like, first name basis is fine. I mean, in general, in Finland,
true.
That's another beautiful thing.
Yeah.
In what way do you think that you benefited directly from tutoring? Has it opened up like this international perspective for you? Has it taught you something?
I would say it opened up the international world even more for me. Somehow I've been in it for a long time already, also through like, I don't know, internet friends and stuff as well. So not just the university context, but still like, it opened it up more for me, and just to get to know these people from many different places and hear about their countries and their cultures. That was very interesting. I learned a lot, and I really got many things out of it. I got friends out of it too, and just nothing negative to say about it.
Is it something you're gonna miss doing?
Yeah, I would do it again, and I will just sadly yearn for that when I watch the new exchange students arrive the next semester, and I will just give longing looks to them and be like, I wish I could still do that.
No, you can always help out with like a another event or something.
Yeah.
But I think it's really comforting for people to hear who are waiting to get a response from their to get an email from their tutor, or maybe they're waiting to find the best response for their tutor, depending on when this airs.
Yeah.
So since you were a tutor for 2 semesters and you had this particular perspective that you came from, what's a piece of advice that you would offer for tutors, and what's a piece of advice you would offer for tutees?
For tutors and maybe people who are thinking whether to do that or not, I would definitely recommend it. If you're even a little bit interested in things like that and in meeting new people from other countries, especially, it's very nice. And I would just say that, like, don't doubt yourself. You will be good enough for that. You really don't. You will get all the information delivered to you. You don't need to worry about that. And just take everything out of it, because it's really it's a chance that you don't always get. Like, actually, like literally from all over the world, and just meeting people. It's a unique thing, honestly. And the tutors should also take everything out of it when they can. Like, it's also a unique opportunity and chance and experience for them as well, to have like a, not always a Finnish person, but still somehow a local person, someone who knows maybe a little bit more about the place than you do when you come here. And just in general, to have a person to just do anything with. It's very nice. And you should really appreciate it from both sides, as a tutor and as a tutee.
So kind of ask questions on both sides. Be prepared to be curious.
Yeah, and like learning from each other, both. Not just so that the tutee learns from the tutor, but we can also learn from the tutees.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. I mean, the amount of perspective, like, I've had years and years where I've worked in international environments, and I've talked to people about, the tutoring experience at JYU, and I really have to say, on both ends of it, I've learned so much. I've changed my own, there's always, like, you can fine-tune your approach to new people coming into a new situation, and just, I think, the depth of understanding that you get for the processes that somebody's going through, both from, like, this logistical perspective and then just this personal perspective, I think it's immensely valuable.
Yeah.
And kind of what you indirectly said a second ago, and I think this was probably a big thing for you coming out of COVID. You couldn't go into the world during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then when finally, the world opened up, because of time, you can't go out of it. There are things that have to be done. You could bring the world to yourself and then engage everything. In everything.
Yeah. And I would say the university offers really good chances for getting an international experience even without going somewhere. Like, you can be a tutor, you can go to events, you can have courses together with exchange students, you can meet them everywhere, and there's just really many chances for that, and you should use them when you can. And sometimes it can be about these, like, random lucky moments of just crossing paths with someone, and then that leading to many nice things, like somehow happened to me. But the university also provides many chances for that as well.
Yeah, there's even like a formal sense of each one teach one.
Oh yeah, true.
Which I'm kind of surprised that you haven't. And just a quick note for everybody: if you speak a particular language and you want to learn another language, working directly with a native speaker of the language, you can just post an ad on this website, and then people can meet up throughout the semester and just teach each other something. So I do really appreciate the fact how many opportunities for internationalization there generally are at JYU. Well, hey, Ella, on that note, I do appreciate the fact, as an international person coming here, I deeply appreciate people like you who decided to put themselves out there, to make themselves available to people coming into the society. And I'm not going to say, you didn't open up your home, but you did open up your heart, your experiences, your mind, to give people another opportunity. And I do really hope that you're still going to get the opportunity to engage with an international community, because I think you're good at it, you're caring towards people, and also, you're infinitely curious, and that's always appreciated.
Yeah, and I think it just once opened up for me, and I don't really ever want to leave it.
I think that's the perfect place to stop. So never leave it, never end it. And I'll continue being curious.
Yeah.
On that note, thanks everybody for listening. Speaking of curiosity, you guys can explore further podcasts from JYU for you. You can continue being curious. And remember, always ask questions. There aren't any dumb questions. There might be some wrong answers. But always be open to engage in new experiences, to learn more, and just take it step by step. Kiitos ja moikka. Cheers.